Good morning, everybody. This morning is a beautiful rainy day in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I have the absolute privilege and honor of interviewing Claudina Hafenscher from Hafenscher. Claudina was clinically diagnosed with bipolar. I'm going to ask Claudina this morning to tell her story so that we have evidence of the wonderful alternatives there are around what we might consider a setback, but which really can become a setup for success when you take the bull by the horns and you make conscious decisions. So good morning, Claudina. Welcome to the interview this morning. I'm going to ask you to deep dive in straight up and tell us a little bit about when you were diagnosed and how you were diagnosed and how that impacted your life.
Good morning, Shereen. Thank you for interviewing me. And I'm just going to say to everybody that is watching this video, I think this is the first time that I'm talking out on my condition, although I wanted to work. I've worked with a lot of people on it, but today is very intimate. It's the first time I'm going to actually share my story live for the first time, and that not only for one people, but all of you out there. And I think I want to start my journey, and before I start my journey, I would like to say that regardless where you are in life, there is some sort of light there, and that is my absolute passion to make sure that I bring the message across. And I believe, although it's going to be maybe a very sad story, I needed this story, and I believe from the upfront, I'm going to say it upfront. Mental illness is happening with the strongest of people. People who's not strong will not have this condition. But it's sad that they do not feel it. And I was there for 10 years. You don't believe in yourself, but that is my big message. Doesn't matter where you are one of the strong ones. We just have to show you how to be a warrior and conquer this wonderful thing that's been given to you. And I call it wonderful. Yeah, so Shereen, it started in 2003, where at that stage I was a very young mother, 1 year old and a 3-year-old, and like normal mothers know, at that stage you don't sleep well. You feel all you do is changing nappies and feeding, and you're totally trapped. And then in that time, I met up with a phenomenal mentor in my life, which today I can say with absolute honesty, if it wasn't for this mentor, I would have never been able to stand here and do what I do. But the journey was very hard with this mentor. So I'm not going to disgrace this mentor and say it was all bad. It was a blessing that was sent to me, but I didn't realize it. And it took me too long to look for the signs, and it took too much for me. And my mission is to prevent people to take so long to get out of something, because you do not need decades to get through a lesson in life. So it started in 2003, and within months, this mentor of mine, which I didn't know, grabbed me, and I was totally in the hold of his hands. And I even changed my name. I wasn't even called by my name, and I believe that's the right thing to do. I did everything perfect, everything perfect. And so I carried on to live this life, to become this person that this person wants me to be. And I could keep it up and try to juggle all the balls, be in the family half there, because I was so mesmerized and focused, and I was so uplifted on the side, and I was the best thing that could happen. And I felt so great. That's where I could fly. But every time I had to go back to the nest with my 1-year-old, 3-year-old and husband, which didn't understand what's going on with me, I couldn't wait to get to the flying. And because I felt so great. And by 2005, trying to live this life, I started to lose myself. Because if you lose your name, already your name, you can imagine what it is what you have to give up to be prepared to be called by another name. And by 2005, I was starting to have severe signs, and on his request, I need to go and see a psychiatrist because he believed there's something wrong with me. And so my journey started, and I went for a 9-year journey from psychiatrist to psychiatrist. I believed I don't need counseling because I'm an educational kinesiologist, I'm a motivational speaker, I actually have a mentor that can help me. So, which means I was a drug junkie for 9 years. I became a zombie. I became absolutely a zombie. So what you see today is I float. And I remember a very, very disturbing moment of this whole journey when I was sitting in front of the psychiatrist and he says to me, or I said to him, I'm busy losing myself. I'm not feeling normal. He said, well, this is normality. Get used to it. Because I was diagnosed with bipolar. So the highs and the lows. And so we carried on. Every 6 weeks, they give you medicine. I was on 2 swingers, sleeping pill, antidepressants, to see if the cocktail is working for you. And every time you use the medicine, you start all over, throw up, feel bad. And then if 6 weeks is gone and it's not feeling better, it starts again. And so I did, and I carried on. Tremendous impact on my body. But with that said, so we carried on. And I think in 2011, I bumped onto a fantastic article about emotional abuses. And I read this article. And although it felt familiar, the situation I was in, I refused to believe that this mentor can be this. So I read this article for 2 years and tried to prove that the article is wrong, that this person is not like that. And for 2 years, I realized that this more and more, reading this article, it is what it is. And eventually, when I realized it, I then had to start deciding how I'm going to get out of this, because then I was so deep into it. And I could not have the support of the family, which I deserted it for this life. So alone, I had to start the journey and started my fight in 2011. And that is basically my life journey. And I just want to say to people, that is what I want to do. I want to take you on hand, because it doesn't matter where you are. Today, I can rightly say, after all of this, I never were really bipolar. My circumstances have pushed me into that situation. But 10 years too long. I missed the most crucial parts of my children's growing up, being trapped in this. That was 10 years too long. And that is what I passionately want to share with the world. I want to help people to get out of these situations, people. So Shereen, that's in a nutshell.
That is amazing. And it's why I love you, Claudina, because I don't think there are enough people talking about the real issues that challenge us, because the world thinks you're strong. The world thinks you should cope. You actually create an expectation on yourself about what it is to cope. And I love what you say about, feeling like a zombie, feeling like you're losing yourself, actually losing track of time, 10 years of your life. Now, you've embraced all of that, Claudina. What triggered you to say, up to here, no further? I deserve more than this. I want more than this. I need to pull my life back together. And I'm going to build a business on helping other people and indirectly helping myself, because there's a saying that goes, you cannot help other people without helping yourself. But what pushed you over the edge? What was that trigger that made you say, no more, I can't do this anymore?
My body gave in. My body gave in. I don't know, some of you maybe will know that there's menstrual pills that you use. It's those red pill pills. I cannot get to the name. I always use those pills for my periods, to help my periods to be not so painful. And suddenly those pills that I always use turned on me, and we didn't know that stage. So I used the pills another time, and then suddenly I had a reaction on the pills. And I got a disease that I call pemphigus vulgaris, which is, if you use a specific substance, I get blisters all over inside. So in my whole mouth, the private areas inside your body, you get blisters. And the infection of those blisters can kill you. So I used it, it happened. And then my GP said to me, if it's happening to you again, you're not going to see the next day, because that is how severe it is. And it took them 3 times for me to have it, and I pulled through, but to diagnose it's actually this. And then we realized there is a substance in the pill that I always use that causes the very effect. And the last time it happened with me, I was bedridden for 6 months. I had to be on chemo pills. I had blisters all over. And while I was those 6 months, I was lying in that bed, I realized my body is busy giving in. And I was already a year and a half busy with this article. trying to lie to myself and say the article is not wrong. It's not right. And I think in that bed, it was my turning point of where to go. And it took me a year and a half to recover from that. But in that same year and a half, I found a way to get out of the claws of this emotional abuser without any assistance, because the more they know that you want to try to get out of the abuse, the more smarter and more charm they get to keep you there. Because as long as you're entrapped in these at your hands, it's okay. Later in my life was another story about my mother. I only realized once I was all out of this 6 years, broken the relationship with this mentor, I actually realized he was a very severe narcissist. And that is why I struggled so much to keep myself sane. And that's why my body take the knock. Because if you read about narcissism, it is a fight. It's worse than an emotional abuser. But I didn't know it at that time. So that is what pushed me, my body, Shereen. And I had to go and start eating healthy. I had to start going to support groups. And my one life coach at that stage says to me, Claudina, I'm not going to help you anymore if you're not going to come to a group on Saturdays, my psycho group. I said, what? I'm not a psycho. I'm not going to sit among those people that's shaking and have tattoos and very judgmental. And he said, well, then I don't see you again. If you cannot come on a Saturday afternoon for 2 hours to this Benoni house in the Gops, according to me, you're not needing my help. And that's where I had to go. And I was there the first day. I was looking around me and judgmental. You cannot believe. But what I've heard, and I got the most valuable information there of how to fight back your body. You have to go on to a different pharmacy. I have a pharmacist to give me different medicines to counter out for this. I had 2 psychiatrists and a psychologist at that stage who wanted to book me in. Said, you're not going anywhere. We booked you in today. And I said, okay, give me a week with you. So with the 2 of them, the first time I get a bit of help, mental help, I start the struggle and fight my way back. And today I can just say I'm on no medication. And my GP and my gynae always say to me, Claudina, we will help you through your menopause with as little as possible pills, because it's a miracle that you could fight back. So yeah, Shereen, that was my turning point. My body gave me. And today, if I use that substance, my body will not see another time. But it's a pill that I always used. So your body will fight back if you don't take action. So that was my turning point.
Now, before we start talking about your business, because I'm interested to talk about your business this morning, I want to ask you, you called yourself a drug junkie, and that's a very strong statement. Can you talk to us about how long it took you to get off the medication you were on? And I'm assuming it was all over-the-counter medication, or wasn't it all over-the-counter medication? I mean, did you wean yourself off it, or did you get some support in weaning yourself off it? If there's somebody who's watching today who says, you know what, I know I have a problem, how do I start? How did you do it, and what will you say to them?
Okay, first of all, you can never leave your medicine just cold turkey. Ever, never do it. It took me with therapy between the psychologist and psychiatrist. They worked as a team. So the one will say, okay, she's ready, that we can reduce a bit. And with intense therapy, I had to change my diet to eat like a diabetic, because sugar is a killer, starch is a killer. So I had to change my lifestyle, eat. I belong to a company that's selling Rooibos products and health products. And that's why you will always see I have my Rooibos with me. And if it wasn't for their natural products, I would have never be on this journey, because I started using their products more and more and replaced my eating habits. And when that was in order, they could start weaning off. It took me about 4 years to be weaned off totally, because I was on severe medication. And the last one that I struggled with the most was the sleeping capsules. And the sleeping capsules took another 2 years. And today, what I say, I use a natural capsule from this Rooibos company, a CBD capsule that is not making me feeling funny, but that keeps my body in control. So the only way is to have a good pharmacist, have the support structure mentally, and doing that, and then a life coach, because my life coach gave me the most practical tips. He told me about brain gut health, how to eat, and then, of course, my brain gym as an educational kinesiologist pulled me through. And I can just say that before we step on, Shereen, is one of the things that I want to say today is I asked my creator a lot of times, why did I have to go through this and why was I so blind? And then I realized, and that is what the sad thing is, so I must tell you that nobody knew I had this. I was fully functional. And I actually asked myself, how could I manage? But I think the brain gym at that stage, which I've started to learn, I became my educational kinesiologist in my worst 10 years. But I think the movements, I definitely know the movements, the way I did my life with the eating, all contribute. So in a way, my creator put things on my path to save me, to learn my lesson. But it is a process, but it's doable. But please, nobody can just go cold. You cannot go cold turkey at all. You need to replace it with more healthier products. And that is also what I do, is to coach people through this. But that's why I say this is a warrior disease. And it is not for the faint-hearted. So if you have it, you are a warrior. Thank you, Shereen.
So, I mean, it's amazing that, and I think you hit the nail on the head there when you say you can't do it on your own. I think, that's the key message today is if you find yourself in a place where you feel like you're losing control, you're not in touch with your body, you're struggling with mental focus, fatigue, maybe feeling depressed all the time, maybe, considering you may have depression, but you just, everything's not lining up. You can't do it on your own. This was the foundation on which you built your business. So, Claudina, tell us a little bit about the Hafenscher business. How was it birthed, and how does it serve the community?
Okay, so it's amazing that I can have this first interview with you, Shereen. The Hafenscher logo, as you see it with the card, was created in 2018 in the Hunter House in Joburg, and that's where it all started. But I wasn't ready for this brand, and I think the brand was there, and I had to make peace, and I had to go through a journey. So that's where it started. And I'm a facilitator. I'm passionate about facilitation and soft skills. And for the past 25 years, I'm standing in rooms full of people and be a facilitator. And the passion of that showed me that there's a huge need. Nobody gets the tools to help them to cope with the pressures and the emotional stuff that they need to cope with. And for the past 25 years, doesn't matter where I am, I put my lot of focus into that. And what I have found in the past years, especially the past 10 years, that my wisdom and my journey of what I'm using in the sessions, which has got nothing to do with the physical material I'm training, actually is what the delegates wanted me to do. And that's where I realized that I have a brand, I have a story. But going through what I've gone through, it's not just something that you want to share with the world. It's easier to share your way, but you don't want to put yourself in the front of it and say that I've lived it. And that's why I'm prepared now and ready now to face the camera without crying and falling into an emotional state for 3 days about my past, to be able to do this. So, and my big message in the Hafenscher is I'm doing courses, and I'm going to put my own spittle, if I can say it, my own spittle, my own experience, more and more to the front, and not just train other material, but more me going to the front. And with that said, COVID is a great thing for me. I don't in any way say disrespect the hardship that was there, but the best turning point for me was 2020 to put this online. And that is what I'm busy doing. I'm also now building this online and have coaching sessions online and have individual sessions online, whatever you want to do, group sessions. I still love the face-to-face, which is going to happen. I always do that. But I want to bring a message to people that can talk to me, people who cannot climb into a car because they're in too much of a mess. They're so tired of keeping this mask up at work. They don't have time to now drive to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or something. They can just plonk in, have the makeup off. We can look at each other in the eye. And I believe I can do so much more online. And if they don't want to put the video on, it's fine. And I think with my journey with the Women of Stature the past couple of months, where I tested this online I created the Plan 80, what I called me, because we were 80 finalists. And I made my business to connect with them to see if I can efficiently do online coaching and if what I do have efficient, and the success is great because my techniques are simple. We need to get our minds connected back to our bodies because, and I think that's the big message, Shereen, I want to share, and that's what I try to get people, is the mind cannot rule. And we don't even know that we're in a narcissistic mind. We are captured with our mind, which is the narcissist in our lives. That mind will push you. That mind will do anything to stay out of the body. So I actually just, it's actually nice that I just realized it. You actually, if you don't control your mind, you are allowing a narcissist to control you. And that's just going to last so long. And then the body will fight back. And then before you know it, you're sitting with a pain or an ulcer or a stomach that doesn't want to work or you don't cope. Oh, that's quite a nice one, Shereen. Thank you for the interview. It just hit me. So we are controlled by our own narcissistic minds if we don't manage the balance between mind and body.
Well, that's something I'm fiercely passionate about. As you know, Claudina, is mastering your mind and taking every thought captive, because really your thought life can turn against you. And I like what you said this morning, is that all the telltale signs and all the red flags are actually your body. So you don't even have to overthink it. Your body will tell you when you have had enough. So it's something, Claudina, because we're coming to the end of our interview. I think it's wonderful that you can do this online. In fact, I think when people find themselves at the lowest point, sometimes the hardest thing is getting out of bed in the morning, getting into your car, facing the world. It's a small and simple thing to do, but I think when you are not feeling good about yourself, and you're feeling completely overwhelmed emotionally, it is tough to get out there and go and face people. And I think digital brings with it its own reward in terms of being able to maybe just click on a link and, like you say, leave your camera on, switch your camera off, but there's somebody on the other side who can talk to you, who has actually walked the road with you. And I think that's what's so powerful about your brand and about your business, and why I love it so much, is you are not talking from a point of just the academia, but you've walked this road. You've been through the process. You know what it feels like. You are in a place where you're not judging anybody else, but you approach it from a place of complete compassion. And I think that's what sets you apart, Claudina. So talk to people who are watching you today who say, you know what, I'd love to reach out. How do I connect with you? Where do I find you? How do they connect with you?
Oh, well, we have created a fantastic website now. It's hafenscher.net. Very simple, .net. It's on the net. And when you're in there, you'll see there's a couple of things. There's a couple of courses. There's the coaching side. I've partnered up with a person or a group of people that if I feel that you need a bit of counseling, because not all of us can have the finances at the stage to do counseling, you can then hook up to get counseling. I also have, I'm not going to call it memberships. You'll see on the site, I've changed the word membership and say, be part of the Hafenscher family. So you can become part of the Hafenscher family, and there's two packages. You can have a $3.99 per month or a $5.99 per month, depending what you want, and have access to all my courses maybe, and all of the things that I'm going to start sharing on the site. So that is a good starting point. And then, of course, I'm not scared that you're going to connect with me on my phone, on my email, so that we can take you on a journey. And then, of course, I offer a free coaching session with everybody to establish if I am really the one you need. I call it the need and share solution calendar or appointment. So if you honestly want to connect with me and see if I have what you need, then we have a session, we talk together, and we look at what package is going to be the best way forward. Must I put you on my 12-week session? Must you join for to be part of the Hafenscher family? So those sessions are offered free. So use my email. I don't know, Shereen, if it's a good idea to give out my cell phone number at this stage, but connect with me. And I'll send you a link on my Tidy calendar. You book it into your own time, which is applicable for you. And we have our first coaching session so that we can establish if the Hafenscher brand is truly there for your needs.
That's fantastic, Claudina. And I just want to say, as you know, last word from myself before we wrap up today, and I will give you the opportunity to share your cell number. If you're comfortable, people to WhatsApp you, you know, and just connect with you in that way as a starting point. But really, Claudina, you actually mentored me. And I'll just share the story very briefly with the people that are watching today. As Claudina and I bumped into each other at an event that we both attended, and Claudina looked me in the eyes and she said to me, "Can we have coffee?" And I thought, okay, well, that's fine. Let's have coffee. I don't mind. She's a good friend of mine. I've known her for years. And while we were having coffee, Claudina said to me, "I don't know what it is, but something is missing in your eyes. Can't put my finger on it, but the day that I saw you at that event and I looked at you, Shereen, something was missing." And we set up a coaching session. Claudina asked me if I was available to do a coaching session, and she asked me one very, very, very powerful question. And I want you to know, Claudina, because maybe you don't even realize the impact that one question had on my life and how it turned the wheel of my ship and took me into a completely different direction. So let me share your word of wisdom. What you said to me that day while we were having coffee, you said, "Shereen, you are at a crossroads of your life, and you need to be very, very, very sure about what you want. You need to be very sure about what you want, because you are going to make decisions and they are going to affect the rest of your life. Just slow down and think very carefully." And we had our coffee, we had a chat, we had a laugh. And you know, in that question, I don't want to say it haunted me, because haunting has got a very negative association. But every morning I woke up asking myself the question, what do you want? Because you're going to make decisions now. Now it's not you're going to make a decision in a year or 2 or 3. Now you are making critical decisions that are going to affect the rest of your life. And if you're not absolutely clear about what you want, you risk making the wrong decision. And then we had another coaching session with you, Claudina. And I, who am always poised and very well put together, I think, and can kind of hold myself together emotionally, for the public, I cried like ugly cry, closed my eyes and realized I had to pass through the gates of forgiveness so that I could move on to my life, or into my new life. And I just want to thank you, Claudina, because I can tell you, I did not even realize what was hindering me. I did not realize what was holding me back. Thank you for recognizing the little dull in my eye that day. Thank you for taking the time to have coffee with me. Thank you for being honest with me and telling me how important my day-to-day decisions were. And thank you for my coaching session that allowed me to have a good cry, which was way overdue, and also show me what I needed to deal with in my own life so that I could move forward. You are fantastic. I highly recommend you. I highly endorse you, if there's such a thing. Anybody who feels a little bit stuck, or might not even realize they're stuck, but really want to uncover what is hindering them, you are an amazing human being. I love you. I trust you completely. And I really wish you every success with the Hafenscher brand. And before we sign off, Claudina, can you just share your cell number if you're comfortable to do that?
Yes, I'm going to share my cell number, and I'm going to ask you, Shereen, you can give me the name. And I want to say to everybody, as before, I always get the last word in. I always say we're just done, and I'll give you another one. That ugly cry that Shereen is referring to is the emotional cry. I call it the emotional cry. So Shereen, what is that substance that we find in tears?
I think it's called oxytocin.
Yes. That substance is a poison to the body. And we, what is the first thing we do when we cry? We apologize. Sorry, I don't want to cry. I want to urge everybody today, have your ugly cries, because those ugly cries is really the cries that's meant to take that poison out of your body. And if there's any men listening to this, guys, cry. You need to cry, because you're sitting with ulcers because you do not cry. So I just want to say, Shereen, thank you for that. So we should possibly start a campaign with ugly cry and make videos of ourselves getting rid of the oxytocin in our bodies. Yeah, no, so that is one tip I want to leave with you. don't stop your tears. Your body needs that. It cannot come out of sweat or anything else. It comes with emotional tears. My cell phone number, Shereen, is 082, then 802 and 5941. Be assured, if I don't immediately answer you, I'm either in a consultation session or I'm a facilitator in front of people, but as soon as I can, I will respond. And I think what I also will do, we can share the tidy link. Well, what I'll do is you give me the call, and then I will send you the tidy call link, and then we can start our process together. Thank you, Shereen.
Thank you, Claudina. Thank you for being a part of my personal healing journey. It is absolutely an honor for me to serve your brand. Thank you for your time this morning. And I think we're going to do another interview maybe next month. But in the meantime, people who want to follow you, people who've enjoyed this interview can connect with you on social media. Claudina's done a beautiful series of getting to know her better. No makeup, no fluff, no nonsense. The real deal, how we feel and how we can deal with those things. But thank you so much, Claudina. Mwah. Love you lots, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you, Shereen. Let us do the hug. Hug yourself. Come. Let's do this. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy it.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.